I recently received a phone call from Elsa Grimm, who is healthy, 90 years old, and still drives. She defended elderly drivers, but said many would stop driving if they had another good way to get around. Here's Elsa.
Well, I love to drive. I'm a good driver. I've been driving for over 50 years.
Have you seen the stories in the paper about accidents that older drivers have been having?
I definitely have, and every time there is a story, it's built up to such a degree. I think that older drivers are very careful. They don't want to lose their license, so they're extremely, for the most part, careful. However, there are times when they lose control, and I think if a person knows that they are likely to lose control, then they should give up the license. But for the most part, we literally live in our cars. It's so difficult to get places if you don't have a car. I would feel terrible if I had to give up my license, but everything depends upon safety. And I feel right now I'm a safe driver. We should also consider what happens, particularly over weekends with teenagers. There's hardly a weekend when a teenager isn't in some horrendous accident.
What would you need if you couldn't drive any longer? What would you need to get around?
I definitely would need transportation. I think in terms of small buses. It doesn't have to be a great big transportation bus, but I think of small buses that would take you from one town to the other on various streets and so forth. There are people who, if they had that kind of transportation, would certainly be glad to give up the car. Living here at Weymouth Port, it's a long walk to the store, and even getting a quart of milk sometimes gets to be difficult if you don't have a conveyance to get you there. In other cities, I've seen it. For example, in Florida, there's a lot of elderly people. And without the buses, they would be in a bad way. We have the same thing here. People are living longer, and in order for them to give up their cars, they've got to get around. It's unfair if they're healthy to keep them in their apartments or houses and never to be able to get out. So something has to be done.
This is Sue Scheibel reporting for the Patriot Ledger. For more coverage, see the Good Age column in the local pages of today's newspaper or go to patriotledger.com.
I positively never, ever want to hurt anyone. I'd rather be hurt myself. If there's anything, then let it be me, not the other person.